Hello and welcome back, audience. My name is MassiveBrad and welcome back to my FIFA 19 Liverpool career mode. Now, before we get into today's episode, I just want to say a huge big thank you for the love and support on the channel. And as always, guys, at the start of these episodes, we're of course going to recap on the previous. But I just want to mention before we get into that today is the 5th of November. And I'm sure many of you guys know that the 5th of November is Bonfire Night. And Bonfire Night means one thing: fireworks. Now, unfortunately right now, guys, I wasn't going to let it stop me recording, and it is a little bit annoying, but I can hear fireworks in the distance. So if you hear any bangs, crackles, I can only apologise for the fireworks. But I thought, do we just delay recording tonight and just not do a video? But I thought, you know what, it doesn't really matter. I'm hoping the microphone's not going to pick up too much, but it is a little bit sensitive of me. Even if I just breathe or rolled a coin across the floor, this microphone would pick it up. So if you do hear any fireworks, I can only apologise. But jumping back into the previous episode, of course, another big one. There was 6 points up in the Premier League for grabs, but sadly we only managed 4. Of course, the first game was against Manchester United. It was a little bit of hit and miss with Manchester United, if I'm completely honest. We were having good chances, but David De Gea was just stepping up, and eventually Valencia headbutted Roberto Firmino, and we managed to get a penalty. Of course, he went and slotted that home, and we went on to finish that game 1-0, so I was very happy with that result. And then we come up against Burnley. Now, the thing with Burnley was, as I mentioned in the previous episode, we're playing them again twice in the semi-finals of the Carabao Cup in just, I do believe, 3 or 4 weeks' time. So I thought, you know what, if we can beat Burnley in the Premier League, we should have no problem in the Carabao Cup. Now, though we didn't lose, we got a draw. It was a 0-0 draw. We had many chances, but unfortunately just couldn't beat Tom Heaton on the day. So I was a little bit gutted over that, and that is where we come to today's episode. Again, another massive 6 points up for grabs. Now, the difficult part of today's episode is, as you can see there, the next game that we are facing, or the team that we are facing off against, should I say, is Wolves. You can see on the standings of the Premier League, Wolves are currently in 3rd on 33 points. We're top on 42. Now, realistically, we cannot afford to drop these points and let Wolves beat us, because Wolves then move up to 36 and the gap closes to a 6-gap lead. Now, currently right now, you can see that Everton are in 2nd and we have a 7-gap lead. Now, realistically, we need to keep as many points between us and 2nd as we can. So a huge game coming up next against Wolves. And then just 3 days later, we're coming to the end of December now. The fixtures are packed. We've got Wolves 3 days later in today's episode. Obviously, the second game, we're facing off against Newcastle. And then I think 5 or 6 days later after that, for the final game in December, before we go into January, we are facing off against Arsenal, which means in the next episode, the first game will be Arsenal. And then we will be going into January, which means one thing: the transfer window opens. So you can see there we face Arsenal on the 30th. Then we go through to January, and it's not easy fixtures. The first game in January is against Manchester City away, so it's never going to be an easy game. We've already faced them before. I do believe we beat them this year in the Carabao Cup, and I think we drew to them in the Premier League. But obviously, once we get to the 1st of January, so this will be the next episode, you guys can start recommending players that we look to buy. You've seen this season, is there a position we need to change? Do we need to improve anywhere? Do we need to build anywhere? But without any further ado, guys, we're going to get into this game against Wolverhampton Wanderers. This is the lineup I'm putting out. We've got Sessegnon on that left wing, Roberto Firmino at striker, Salah on that right wing, Milner and the Ox linking up in that central midfield role, Fabinho in the central defensive midfield, Tierney, Jimenez, Gomez, Alves at the back, with, of course, the big man Alisson in net. So let's go ahead and get into this game against Wolves. I'm excited. There's 6 points up for grabs here. 3 against Wolves, 3 against Newcastle. We're going to have to play our hearts out, certainly against Wolves, because right now, Wolves are 3rd in the Premier League. So let's go ahead and travel to the Molineux Stadium and hopefully bring those 3 points home. And here we are at the Molineux Stadium against Wolves, the newly promoted team. They come up this year and they're doing well in real life. They're doing well in this save. I mean, they're 3rd in the Premier League. I am looking forward to this game. Let's go ahead and get into this first half at the Molineux Stadium and hopefully be going at half time with a little bit of a lead. Close this down. Nicely done, Millie. It's probably going to be a free kick there, and it is. James Milner does push him off the ball. Possibly going to be a yellow card as well. No card today. Let's get someone. Jean Martino can crack them from here. Ball coming in, and it's off the crossbar. Let's get rid of that, Millie. Sessegnon comes out with it. Nicely done. Let's try and break now. Chamberlain over the far side, looking for Dani Alves, who's pushing forwards now. We've got Roberto Firmino in the middle. Millie on the overlap. Sessegnon on the overlap. Let's keep pushing forwards, lads. Here we go. This is a counter. Nice little whip ball now. Looking into the middle. Bobby Firmino. There we go. There we go. From our end, hitting the crossbar. Wolves. Absolutely unbelievable. Free kick from, I do believe, Jota. hit the crossbar, and we just broke. Nice bit of passing. Got it out wide to Ryan Sessegnon. Nice little ball in. Bobby Firmino left at that front post and beats Patricio between the sticks. Up to the Ox, into the middle, looking for Milner. Going out to Bobby. I've got Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain on the overlap. Gonna have Bobby coming in near post to try and dig this in. Bobby Firmino! There we go! 2 goals for Bobby Firmino. Liverpool 2-0 right before half time. And that is his 8th goal. That was a nice bit of football there from the Liverpool lads. Nice bit of football indeed.
Look at this again.
The Ox got through, waited for Bobby to come in. I was looking for anyone in the middle. Bobby had so much space on the volley. And once again, he beats Patricio for the 2nd time in today's match. 8 goals in the Premier League. He's working his way up there, lads. And there we go, referee. Before we can even close it down, the referee blows for half-time at the Molineux Stadium. We're 2-0 up. Bobby Firmino getting both of them, puts him on 8 goals in the Premier League. I'd love it if Bobby Firmino could possibly get the Golden Boot. He deserves it. He's been absolutely unbelievable for us. I'm going to jump into the second half, exactly the same team. I think around the 60 to 65 minute mark, look at making some changes. Probably look at bringing Roberto Firmino off, possibly Milner and also Salah, because of course we still have Newcastle in today's episode. I'd love to get the 6 points, and that is exactly what we're going for. But let's go ahead and get into this second half and hopefully come away with the win. There goes Salah breaking through the middle straight away. Salah is breaking. I'm going to hit this with Salah. It's a strike. Comes to Ryan Sessegnon, and I tell you what, within the first minute, we've nearly found the 3rd goal. I went for shot with Salah, took a wicked deflection. Fell to Ryan Sessegnon, who absolutely smashes it over the bar. Into Bobby Firmino. Bobby to turn his man. I'm going to push forward to Bobby. Oh, referee, surely. Playing it through to Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, trying to put a ball into the middle. Fabinho on the edge of the box, and it's just over the bar. Tell you what, that was not far away at all. Fabinho is not the usual player that would go for an overhead kick, but it wasn't bad. And I'm making 3 substitutions. Salah, Bobby, and the Ox going off. Shaqiri, Correa, and Naby Keita coming on. Here's Naby Keita. Play it over that far side for Millie. Look at this space now for Ryan Sessegnon to get in behind. Ryan Sessegnon pushing forwards. Let's cut this back. Play it in, looking for Naby. It's come to Shaqiri, who absolutely put a rocket in the back of the net. I was looking for Naby Keita, just looking for him in the middle. It fell to Shaqiri, and I just thought, I'm going to hit this. Oh, what a bullet. I mean, look at this. Boof. Does take a slight deflection from the Wolves defender, but I tell you what, that is a wicked left foot right there. Doesn't even send the keeper the wrong way. It's right in front of him. It was just that fast, that much pace on it. He had no chance, and there we go. Liverpool 3-0 up against Wolverhampton. Here's Angel Correa. Giving it into Naby Keita, who's pushing forwards. We've got Shaqiri wanting to get in behind. Here goes Shaqiri. Cut this back. Nice little ball into the middle. Looking for Ryan Sessegnon. I tell you what, not a bad strike from the young man. Straight into Patricio's hands. And there we go. Referee blows for full time at the Molineux Stadium. And I tell you what an absolutely incredible game that was. Bearing in mind, we're coming off the back end of only just scraping a 1-0 against United and a draw against Burnley. We weren't playing a full squad either. It was very rotated, and we still managed to go on and win 3-0. Most importantly, you can see there, Wolves having 1 shot, and it wasn't even on target. That is something that I'm aiming for. At the start of this series, we let in so many silly goals. We let in 2 in the first game against West Ham. We let in 3 against Napoli. We were letting in silly goals. So what I want to change up is very much to concentrate on my defending. Right, and here we are, guys, back at the Central, ready to face off against Newcastle at Anfield, and I am super excited for this game. We've just played Wolves and bagged the 3 points. You can currently see the Premier League standings right now. It's absolutely beautiful. We have a 10-point gap on Everton. We currently stand on 45 points, played 18. Everton have played 18 and find themselves on 35. So with those 10 points, it means we've got a bit of breathing space. We can relax a little bit. We haven't got to worry. And you can also see here, quickly want to mention, that Roberto Firmino is in 4th place. He's joint 3rd with Juan Mata on 8 goals. Kevin Volland on 9 in second place. And Jamie Vardy has turned up to party this year, currently on 13 goals. So only 5 goals ahead of Firmino. I'm sure he is going to get there. And if anyone deserves to get the golden boot, it is that man there, Roberto Firmino. He's been absolutely outstanding for us so far in this series. But also, guys, before we get into the game against Newcastle, as usual, quickly going to show you the lineup. We've got Mane at that left wing, Roberto Firmino at striker, Shaqiri on that right wing, Gini Wijnaldum and Naby Keita in that central midfield role, Henderson in the central defensive midfield role, Robertson, Van Dijk, Lovren and Trent at the back, with of course Alisson in goal. Now Naby Keita's not one that I normally start simply because his stamina's not very good, so I'm going to give him a run out for the first 45 minutes. Same with Firmino, hoping to get him on the score sheet, but at half time I need to be making sure Naby Keita and Roberto Firmino definitely come off because we've got Arsenal coming up next. I need to make sure that Bobby's fit because he's our main scorer right now, and I want to make sure that we're keeping our players nice and fit, nice and rotated. And you know what, guys? I just cannot get over that 10-point gap. Well, let's go ahead and get into this game at Anfield against Newcastle. And hopefully, if Everton drop any points, whether they get a draw or they lose, and we win our game, we can possibly push that 10 even further. But let's go ahead and get into this game and hopefully bag those 3 points. And we're back at home, back at Anfield. And we're coming off a victory against Wolves, who were in 3rd position. I mean, to beat them 3-0, I was over the moon. Benitez back at Anfield. And obviously, guys, if you haven't seen it, I'm doing a series called Going for Goal. It's a My Player, and currently right now we are at Newcastle. So if you haven't checked out the My Player, I did mention in the previous episode of the Going for Goal that I didn't know if Going for Goal as a title lets you guys know whether that's a My Player or not. But you guys seem to want me to keep that. But enough about that. If you haven't watched the My Player, definitely go and give it a watch. We're currently at Newcastle. But let's go ahead and get into this first half and hopefully be going in at half time with the lead. Henderson, you've got to get on that. And here we go. Newcastle are pushing forwards. This could be a problem. Let's go, Trent. You've got to deal with Atsu. Trent comes across and does absolutely wonders right there. He had to stop Atsu getting that ball in. Mark up, everyone. Grab a man. Ball comes into the middle and it's on the edge of the box, and I tell you what, Fraser, I don't know if that's Ryan Fraser, but he manages to get his shot off, and we should not be letting him get a shot off there. Newcastle are on the attack right now. They are not taking anyone hostage. Naby Keita pushing forwards, got Roberto Firmino. Naby goes for the inside of a boot. Shaqiri's picked it up. Shaqiri to hit this. Shaqiri once again. Ben one, and it's straight into Elliott's hands. Bobby to come away with it. Nicely done, Bobby. Keep going, son. Look at putting Mane in behind. Mane's in behind. Let's cut this back. Nicely done. Mane looking to hit one. Big strike, and Elliott with a massive save. Mane looking over to Naby Keita, who's going to push forwards now. Going into Bobby, looking straight through the middle, looking for Sadio Mane. This surely should be 1-0, and it is 1-0. Beautiful goal from Sadio Mane. I was a bit worried why he just didn't finesse that on his left foot. But nevertheless, takes it on his stronger right foot. Bends it past the keeper, takes it on the outside of the boot as well, I do believe. Ball through to Sadio Mane. Look at this, outside the boot, into the roof of the net. Happy days. Sadio Mane scoring the first goal. Here's Gini Wijnaldum looking for Bobby Firmino, laying off to Henderson. Going to look straight through to Shaqiri. Referee, we're still on the attack there. We're still looking for that second goal, but nevertheless the referee is playing for half time. I don't think he should have. The man there, Sadio Mane, 3 attempts, 1 goal. I'm very happy with the performance from the lads so far. Now, sadly, Roberto Firmino has not got on the score sheet, and I will look at taking him off now. I don't want to risk him. I want to keep him nice and fit. So we're going to change it to a 4-3-3 with a striker, because obviously Bobby plays more of a centre forward. Taking Roberto Firmino off, I'm going to bring Angel Correa on. I'm going to bring Lallana for Naby Keita, and they are the only 2 substitutions I am making. Currently, let's go ahead and get into this second half. Hopefully, look for a couple more goals, but mainly stop Newcastle getting us with the high balls. Try and hold this back. Look for Gini Wijnaldum. Flick that off. Gini Wijnaldum to Benny hit, and I'll tell you what, it went in slow motion for me there. A little back heel from, I do believe, Angel Correa. And with Gini Wijnaldum, I just thought, let's just hit this one and see what we can do. Corner for Liverpool. Let's look again for the big man, Van Dijk. Put this ball in. Van Dijk getting marked by Atsu. Surely he should get there. He does, and what a save from Elliott. He's come away with it now, though. It's intercepted, though, and Shelvey is pushing forwards here. We've got to be careful. John Joe Shelvey coming forwards. Tell you what, Atsu is in behind there. We've got to be careful here. Ball into the middle. And I tell you what, Ki Sung-young should have done a lot better from there. A lot better. Try and get Trent in the middle. Let's play this ball through. Here's Correa into the middle, laid it straight off. Gini Wijnaldum, and he should be finishing it from there. Through to Correa. Correa, you've got to let that ball go sooner. You've got to release it. But nevertheless, the referee blows for full time at Anfield. And do you know what? I'm over the moon with this episode. Not only did we get 2 clean sheets, we also bagged a full 6 points in today's episode. Now, not only have we got that 10-point lead, we've bagged another 3 points. We're keeping clean sheets. This is what we need. You can see from the stats, we did deserve to win that. Newcastle did come at us in the first 20 minutes, but I think once we scored that goal, they backed off a little bit and thought, we can't keep doing this because Liverpool will have us on the counter-attack. Right, and here we are, guys, back at the Central for the final time in today's episode. And I just want to say, do you know what? I'm very impressed with how we're playing right now. We beat Wolves 3-0. Not only do we win the game, we get the 3 points, we also keep a clean sheet. Then we face off against Newcastle. May have only been a 1-0, but a win is a win. And we also keep a clean sheet as well as bagging the 3 points. I'm over the moon with how we're playing right now. We've proper cramped down on how we were defending. We're doing absolutely unbelievable. You can see there, goals against only 8, goals for 35. 8 goals are the only amount that have ended up in the back of our net. I mean, you look at the rest of the league, it's absolutely crazy. And also, I've just noticed something there. Now, if you start to look at the top 8 that you can see there, you can see the likes of Chelsea, United, Spurs, City. If we move down a little bit more, we've got Arsenal, who we're playing next, who are currently in 10th position. The big teams are now starting to push for those top positions. So we have to make sure, if we can make that gap as big as possible, when these big teams come knocking, like Arsenal, we've got Arsenal and Manchester City in the next episode, as well as the transfer window opening in January. We have some massive games in the next month, but mainly Arsenal and City. If we can get draws or wins against them, I'll be absolutely over the moon. But that is going to do it for today's episode, guys. If you have enjoyed it, please do give it a big thumbs up for me. Don't forget to drop your comments down below. If you're new around here, click that subscribe button. Don't forget to share this video with your friends and family. And I've been Massive Brad. Peace out.